Bradley Hall did a video. Is metal better or worse than it used to be? Before we get into it, I'm going to give my own synopsis of what I think the answer is. Did you know that 82% of you aren't fucking subscribed? Hit the button. Why do you hate things? Have fun. I think it doesn't fucking matter. But if I had to pick, I think 2000s metalcore is goated. But I would say overall, I think modern metal is awesome because there's no rules. The direction is better, but maybe old school stuff was maybe slightly better crafted for being metal. But I prefer the way it's going now, if that makes... You think modern metal is more interesting? Yes, that's a good way of putting it. I think modern metal is more interesting and has more potential if done right. That's kind of my take, but I want to see what Bradley thinks.
You've got the people that like the classic stuff.
Oh, like 80s heavy metal? Modern metal beats it. I thought that entire speech I did useless. I grew up with fucking Van Halen and fucking Metallica and all that shit too, all right? Yeah, little fucking Zoomer Nick, only fucking stupid ass bitch core kid doesn't listen to real metal. I grew up with the same shit as you okay? But I think modern metal is better. No offense.
You've got the people that like the modern stuff, and you know, there doesn't seem to be too much overlap these days. Classic metal fans say that metal these days is boring and uninspired and all sounds the same.
I think that's literally the opposite. Like, you go listen to thrash, like any thrash song back in the day. It's the same song. Like, sure, there's metalcore songs that all sound the fucking same, but like, it's much more broad. I don't know. I disagree with that. Because of the genre fusion that's happening, I think it actually sounds way more unique than it ever has.
But who's right? So in this video, I've taken 5 things that I love and hate about both modern and classic metal. To show you guys there are amazing things about both of them. Let's start with what I love about modern metal. So many of my favourite classic metal albums are completely marred by horrendous audio quality, which even sometimes puts me off listening to them. Thankfully, production quality has come a long way in the past couple of decades.
True. I think modern mixing is amazing. It does make everything sound somewhat similar, but then the bands have to focus more on creative writing. I like modern mixing much more. I like the ability that a person can just be creative and doesn't have to worry about the mix. But yeah, like it has its own like pros, obviously, of like mixing back in the day being more unique.
It's actually
musicians
insane
are crazy
how
good
exponentially
now.
fast musicians improved at their craft over the years. Unlike previous generations that had to rely on questionable tab books, the internet has sped up the learning process an infinite amount.
Making music accessible? Yeah, I think that's a pro. Wait, is he doing pros of modern metal? What I love about modern metal. Okay, it took me a second.
Of home recording.
Yeah, no, these are all good. I agree.
Set up their own home studio these days and get creating.
Yeah. I like Bradley. He's a cool dude.
Not a lot to say here, really. Nothing beats a sequence of filthy low zeros that make you gurn so hard, it looks like you just smelt my post-bean binging flatulence.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Defying. Damn, I fully agree with Bradley so far with this video, by the way.
In my opinion, one of the more interesting developments of modern metal is the trend of bands not being interested in being defined by a single genre. Artists such as Sleep Token, Poppy, Falling in Reverse, Avenged Sevenfold, and Polyphia have all achieved significant popularity with incredibly adventurous, genre-bending sounds.
Yeah, if you released that back in the 90s, they would have just been like, you dumb, #prog. Like, you know, like that's all they would have just said. Like, they won't give a
And now, what I dislike about modern metal.
Okay.
With modern production techniques, it's far easier, quicker, and cheaper to record everything.
That's what, yeah, so it's like a pro and a con. I'll agree with him on that. That's fair.
The only problem is, when all instruments are locked in and metronomically tight, it can definitely lose some of the groove.
Okay. I have never been more, like, on the like, oh, I hate that something is like gridded. If it's like fucking like you know, like that kind of gridded, like, yeah, I don't care personally as much of like the, oh, you know, this wasn't recorded to a click track, you know what I mean, like that kind of vibe. If anything, I prefer it is, because then I can do a cover much easier and not fucking sit there and micromanage the BPM for the whole thing. So I don't really care about that personally, but like I get it. Does affect the sound, like sure.
There's a reason why musicians in genres such as funk, reggae, and punk purposefully rush or drag behind the beat, as it makes the music sound far more human.
Harder to be original? That I disagree with. No, I don't think it's harder to be original. It's just bands are maybe a little lazier to try to be original, to be honest.
The more the years go by and the more music gets released, the harder and harder it becomes to sound original.
That's what, meaning like it's hard to do something completely new that hasn't been like, yeah, like because there's so much music. Like, yeah, okay, I agree with Badly. Never mind. I take back what I said. That's big disagree. I totally disagree with that. Like it varies obviously from the band. It's not like every band has the best songwriting, but I think songwriting has advanced tremendously over the years. There are some absolute bangers from like 2000 stuff, but you can't comparing to like 80s and 90s stuff. I disagree with that. This one, I've got to go against Bradley.
For all the amazing progress and advancements that modern metal has made, it's unfortunate that the art of songwriting has somewhat been left on the wayside. Exciting chord progressions, tasty hooks, and cohesive structures are often left on the wayside in favor of needlessly complicated riffs, predictable bargain bin melodies, and wanky bloated song structure.
Okay, I'm going to make a assumption here. He's talking about like more prog stuff. Like modern progressive maybe music or like technical, like tech death. There was so much not of that as well. It's like putting yourself in a bubble and only looking at technical like death metal bands or something. Like what? Like we listen to so much music on here. There's more bands doing simple caveman than there are actually, I think, doing like technical like fucking virtuoso nowadays at least. I disagree with that. I don't think so. Like, it feels like his perspective is like literally like tech death and prog music for this one, because otherwise that's not the case. I just disagree with that. But like, was there more fun allowed back then? Wasn't it just like, yo, you like Metallica? Oh, you like Megadeth? I'm gonna fucking murder you. Like what? Like I feel like there was way less fun back then. Like, if anything, yeah, they're just less elitist. I don't know about that one. Like, they're still elitists. It feels like there's just much less of them.
This is probably my biggest gripe with a lot of modern metal. There's just not a lot of fun left. Maybe it's a result of the times we live in, but metal is so damn miserable and unself-aware these days, it's almost laughable. It's interesting to me that metal has sort of followed the trend of contemporary pop music, where it's more about vibes and mood and less about melody and songs.
But the vibes and the moods are also about melodies and songs. That one's tricky for me. I don't think I agree with that one. But I'll take it. I'll take it.
Classic metal! What do I love about it?
Okay. More organic sound. See, that I understand why people like that. I don't care.
A while ago, I was thinking about why a lot of older metal records sound so much more energetic than modern releases. And I'm almost certain that it's due to bands not recording to a click in the studio like they do these days. Not recording to a click gave bands an awesome push and pull feel that really brought grooves to life.
Super tight and well rehearsed.
Yeah. These days
100%. This one is, I agree fully. Modern metal musicians don't give a f. I sit here and I don't give a f. I'm just going to record it until it sounds good.
While musicians these days are without a doubt light years ahead of the average musician from the classic days, there's still a certain facet of playing that these older guys excelled at. Going into the studio to record an album used to be a huge deal and was incredibly expensive. Therefore, it was imperative that bands were efficient with their time.
No, like, when's the cutoff? Because, like, okay, yes, but when's the cutoff? Because, like, if the cutoff's 2000s, I disagree. But, like, I get it. Yes, like, obviously, OG, the fucking Guns N' Roses, Pink Floyd, fucking obviously Metallica, like, all these bands that were very guitar-centric and had these epic solos that everyone knew. Like, yeah, like, Stairway to Heaven even, like, yeah.
That a lot more thought was put into guitar solos compared to today. And when I say
that is true,
I don't mean in terms of theory and technique and spending hours writing out the perfect licks in Guitar Pro. I mean more in terms of making sure that they'd be memorable.
But there was still a fair share of like big, like very popular solos that were not memorable. Like you know, they were just like fucking boring. There was a lot of solos too that were just like the same fucking pentatonic blues riff that everyone heard a million times. It was just fucking boring.
It usually still felt super fun and part of the song, not just like, okay, now here's the bit where the guitarist shows off for literally no reason.
No, there was that too.
Whether you like
Rockstar Stories, oh god, now it's just converted to fucking deathcore vocalists getting canceled. Stories.
Not, the larger-than-life rock star personalities of the past will be passed on into legend and remembered for years to come. Regardless of your opinions on people like Ozzy Osbourne, Dave Mustaine, or Richie Blackmore.
Guys, if like 90% of those rock stars existed in modern day with social media and phones, they would, like 90% of them would probably be canceled. Like that's the f***ed up thing, right? If you think about it. Hey, yeah, yo, modern musicians, you want to be a rock star, yeah? You want to go live the rock star life? Have fucking fun. I'll see you in jail. But yeah, producers.
Do you think that the enormous success of Metallica's Black Album or Slayer's Rain in Blood were entirely due to the bands themselves? Of course not. It was nearly wholly down to the world-class producers they collaborated with. What I dislike about classic metal.
Let's go, Bradley. Yeah, the mix, I mean, yeah.
There are so many older...
I mean, he already talked about this. Yeah, the mixing is fucking atrocious. The aesthetics? Oh, so bad.
This is probably
I mean, like, guys, like, to be fair, yeah, the aesthetics were bad, but, like, you know, we also lived through this. Don't get me wrong, I agree with Bradley, but, like, you know, like, we didn't have it easy here either, okay? Like, we did not have a good time here either.
Back in the classic days of metal, the music industry was a far different beast to what it is now. If you wanted to make it as a band, then you pretty much had no choice but to sign to a label and submit to whatever dubious terms they offered.
Oh yeah, terrible. Terrible. Now you can do everything yourself and not give a f*** as long as you know what's up.
Because of this, it was pretty commonplace for bands to end up locked into horrible deals and often ended up losing most or all of their revenue.
Dated guitar style.
Younger fans who are used to the more refined style of contemporary guitar playing are likely to find their older style by classic bands a bit underwhelming and dated.
Boomer bands.
So what do you think? Agree? Disagree? Let me know right now!
Bro, Bradley, how the f*** do you have so much... It's like he turns on a switch, bro. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, oh, like, yo, damn, hit me with whatever the f*** you get, you know, what's on your guitar fucking strings that are making you fucking go wild. Guys, go show Bradley the love. This is his video. I think he was pretty fair. But, you know, even with the points I specifically disagreed with and I now forgot. I think this is a great video. Go check it out. Go comment and yeah. You look like you had zero sleep. Thank you. This is how I always look. Maybe I didn't have sleep. How does that make you feel? I don't know.